Survival of the Sickest is a book by Dr. Sharon Mullen which addresses the intricate relationship between evolutionary biology and disease, both genetic disorders and microbe-centric infections. Dr. Mullen's book covers several unique studies, each one supported by reliable experimental data. They all suggest that many of the sicknesses in society today are still present because of the beneficial traits related to said diseases that guided our ancestors through tough times. The book presents many ideas, and we will be discussing the topics that are most relevant to the big ideas presented by the course.
In the first chapter, Dr. Mollem addresses a hereditary disease called hemochromatosis. This disease disrupts the body's metabolization of iron and explains how it was once beneficial to the human race. People with hemochromatosis can retain excessive amounts of iron. At the same time, however, the body's defensive white blood cells, called macrophages, contain very little iron. This means that when bacterial infections enter the body of an individual with hemochromatosis, the disease struggles to spread because it can't take advantage of the iron that is normally present in macrophages. People who possess the gene associated with the disorder survived the bubonic plague more often than those who didn't. This led to the gene becoming more prevalent in the next generation, as many of those without it had died off. Today, however, the positive aspects of hemochromatosis are more or less irrelevant as we have antibiotics to fight against such infections. Chapter 1 relates to Big Idea 3, which states, living systems store, retrieve, transmit, and respond to information essential to life processes. Because of the Black Plague, the gene that causes hemochromatosis became more and more prevalent in the European population. These living systems transferred their information, DNA in this case, by responding to the environment and in turn doing away with ineffective stored information through natural selection. This led to the transmission of effective genes to subsequent generations, one of it being hemochromatosis. This disease is disadvantageous in today's society, but it's prevalent because of the transmission of genetic data through natural selection.
In Chapter 6, Dr. Mullen explains the science surrounding the functionality of our genes. She talks about the fact that scientists have begun to view genes as an intricate network of information only recently, as opposed to something as simple as the blueprints that make up the human body. Dr. Mullen writes about jumping genes, which are volatile and mobile genes that can move across the genome. These genes result in rapid mutations that don't have any effect on the organism's genome as a whole. She explains how these jumping genes allow organisms to respond to changes in their environment within a short period of time and how those changes progress to the next generation. One of the examples that Dr. Mullen gives us is McClintock's corn research, which led to the discovery of the jumping gene. She explains that, especially when the plants were stressed, McClintock discovered whole sequences of DNA moving from one plant to another, even inserting themselves into active genes. Through her experiment, McClintock discovered significant changes in the corn's genome. These changes appear to serve the purpose of rapid adaptation to the surrounding environment. Chapter 6 relates to Big Idea 1, which states the process of evolution drives the diversity and unity of life. Survival of the Sickest teaches us that adaptation is essential to survival. Dr. Mullen mentions that these adaptations can manifest within very short time frames in the form of jumping genes. These genes, when passed down, allow for extremely rapid and potentially vital adaptations to the environment surrounding the affected organisms.
In Chapter 2, Dr. Mullen discusses how humans may have adapted to the freezing temperatures of the Ice Age and theorizes that the human genome may be subject to drastic changes when the body is presented with an extreme climate. Dr. Mullen suggests that diabetes could have been a genetic mutation which happened to protect us from the brutal cold of the Ice Age by producing an excess of sugar. This extra energy lowers the freezing point of blood, which provides our bodies with extra heat. She proceeds to point out that diabetes is more prevalent in the descendants of those who suffered through exceptionally low temperatures in extremely cold environments. She asks the rhetorical question, is it a coincidence that the people most likely to have a genetic propensity for a disease characterized by exactly that are people descended from exactly those places most ravaged by the sudden onset of an ice age about 13,000 years ago? Dr. Mullen also provides an extensive overview of how the human body defends itself from the cold. When our bodies are struggling to maintain homeostasis in low temperatures, we begin to shiver. This increases muscle movement and causes the body to burn more fat, generating enough energy to keep the body warm. In desperate situations, our bodies will even go as far as setting up a triage of sorts. The body pulls warmer blood from appendages in order to keep high-priority vital organs active. Chapter 2 relates to Big Idea 2, which states that biological systems utilize free energy and molecular building blocks to grow, to reproduce, and to maintain dynamic homeostasis. When we shiver, we are utilizing dormant stored energy for the sake of maintaining homeostasis. The same principle can be applied to our body's ability to move blood. We are utilizing free energy within our bodies and putting it to use in order to maintain homeostasis. Diabetes, though it is an abnormality and therefore an exception among most human populations, also demonstrates this principle, and that the body uses its excess sugar to maintain homeostasis in an extremely cold environment. Although diabetes, like hemochromatosis, is nothing but a hindrance in today's society, it perseveres because of its relevance in the lives of our ancestors.
Dr. Millam does a fantastic job explaining why disease is important to evolution. She explains how our DNA changes and adapts to environments through a well-versed point of view on evolutionary biology. We enjoyed this book because it revealed how disease works with evolution to help life thrive in even the harshest of environments. We recommend this book to anyone who is interested in evolutionary biology, as it provides a unique viewpoint on the relevance of disease to evolution. Thank you for watching.